Hey true learners, it's me, Miss G, your Math Matters tutor from TACC. On today's episode of Math Matters, we're going to be talking about improper fractions. And before I get into improper fractions, I want to say happy birthday to the special student who posed this question to us. So she goes to Castro Valley Elementary School out in Alameda, California. She knows who she is. Happy birthday. So improper fractions. If you can see here, I have my models, or model. This is one whole model here, okay? And you'll notice that I have a whole circle that's divided into two equal pieces. And each equal part or piece is called a half. Here it says half circle, if you can see that. So we know that each part, each unit, so one unit is called 1/2. Oh, there we go. 1/2. Ooh. Of course this would happen. Okay, let me get another red marker. Bear with me. Let's see if this one's better. Yeah, all right, 1/2. We also have another half circle. So the unit fraction there is also, it also represents 1/2. And we have our last and final half right here, half circle. Okay, as you can see, I'm color coding everything, okay? So that you can track and see where each of the numbers comes from, okay? So when we add up 1/2 plus another half, which if you add these together, you'll get 2 halves, plus another half, you'll have 3 halves altogether. So I know some students see 3/2 and they are thinking about using the th sound. Well, we're not using the th. We're not going to call it 3 tooths or 3 teeths, right? Or teeth. No, we call, when we see the number 2 in the denominator, that's the number that's down under that fraction bar. I say this all the time, so you guys should know it by now. And the reason I do that is that repetition or practice makes perfect. So for those of you who confuse the numerator and the denominator, look at all these markers. Oh my goodness. The numerator and the denominator, which one is which? Think of going down under for the denominator, okay? So we call a denominator of 2, we call it a half. A half. That's, if you have the number 1 up here, we refer to it as 1/2. But since we have more than 1 in our numerator, the number on top, we refer to this fraction, or this, denominator, we read it as halves. Halves with the V. Halves. Okay? 3 halves is what we have here. And 1/2 is what we have here. Okay? So think about, if that confuses you or you don't remember, think about the word wolf. 1 wolf. If you have more than 1 wolf, you might have 2 wolves. Okay? So language is very important in math. A lot of people just separate English or any language from the math, but it goes hand in hand, right? Especially when you get to word problems, you'll notice that students they get confused because they've only paid attention to the numbers. They only pay attention, or even some teachers, they only focus on calculating. But they do not marry always the language, the academic vocabulary and terms to the instruction. Or maybe they do present the material, but it's so quick, but it may not be repeated, right? So I really advise that if you are learning math, you're in a math class, don't just skip over the vocabulary, the words. Okay, so this is 3/2. This is called an improper fraction because proper fractions, or fractions that we're used to seeing, have a small numerator, right? A smaller numerator than the denominator. So 1 is smaller or less than, that's supposed to say smaller, guys, is less than 2. But an improper fraction, like the one in the middle, I'm going to erase these ones here, all the fractions on the outside around here. And our improper fraction, our numerator is actually larger than our denominator. Why? Why is that the case? Well, the reason the numerator is larger in improper fractions is that it represents more than one whole. This is one whole, right? But we have another half, so that's more. Okay? More than. If you want to see, I can model the, like an addition sentence using fractions, so you can see what this would look like, where to equate to 3/2. Oh yeah, my markers are not being nice to me right now. Ah, here we go. So here's my plus sign, and I want to continue with the color coding. My tricky. Yeah, now this one wants to work. Okay, they're taking turns today. Okay, so we have our halves at the bottom because our wholes are cut into 2 parts. So you know that this half circle comes from a whole circle, but we don't have the rest of this whole circle, okay? We only have half of it. But if you were to draw an imaginary half circle there, now you understand why we have 2 in the denominators, because the whole is cut into 2, and how much of the whole do we have? Only 1 part. So this fraction represents 1/2 of the whole, and this fraction, or this model, represents 2/2 of the whole. So 2/2 plus 1/2 equals 3/2 with the VES. I erased it and now I'm going to put it right back. Here we have halves, 2/2, it's more than 1. And here we have 1/2. I'll write it in a different color to distinguish it from the others. Half. This is 1/2, right? 2/2 and 3/2. So sorry that I'm like leaning back here and all that. I just want to catch the light coming in my window. So that's the lesson. I don't really need to go on any further. I hope it helped.